Why Steve Harvey owes $22 million to the IRS. Broderick Stephen Harvey Sr. operates as a television host, producer, actor, and comedian in the United States of America. He is the host of the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud, Family Feud Africa, the court comedy Judge Steve Harvey, which is based on arbitration, and he was formerly the host of the Miss Universe competition. His achievements include 14 NAACP Image Awards, 7 Daytime Emmy Awards, and 2 Marconi Awards. He also won 7 Daytime Emmy Awards. In the early 1980s, Harvey began his career as a stand-up comedian. He then became the presenter of Showtime at the Apollo and appeared in the television sitcom The Steve Harvey Show, which was broadcast on the WB. After having a successful run on the Kings of Comedy tour, he was invited to participate in the original Kings of Comedy in the year 2000. In 2012, he performed his final stand-up comedy act. As an additional point of interest, Harvey has been serving as the host of both Family Feud and Celebrity Family Feud since the year 2010. Little Big Shots, Little Big Shots Forever Young, and Steve Harvey's Thunderdome were also shows that he hosted in addition to those. My divorce occurred in 2005, and my accountant had entered into a conspiracy, which resulted in a significant tax dilemma for me in the year 2008. The next thing you know, my accountant passed away, and after that, a girl who worked with him called me. I was told by my attorney that we have an issue. On the floor, she discovered all of my tax forms for the past 7 years, all of which were signed and had the checks stapled along with them. As a result, I am considering checks that are unassigned and unreliable. To put it simply, they were cashing the checks, keeping the money, and not submitting the tax forms. Therefore, they removed the funds from the account that corresponded to the source of the problem. The way I was seeing it was not accurate. You see, 100,000 people. The number 600,000. You have a look at it. It's true. As a result, I am going to check it out. I had no idea that it was certain individuals who had been accepting the money for 7 years. It's been 7 years. What was the total amount of money that was spent? I ultimately came to own $22 million. Wow, the penalty amounts to $22 million. Listen to what I have to say, man. During the year 2008, my wife and I were able to call, and the way I learned about the situation was when my attorney phoned me and said, "Hey man, we have a problem. 7 years have passed since you last paid your taxes." I have it. How do you explain it to them? Taxes are paid by me. I have been filling out the checks and doing everything else here. Oh my goodness. He stated that this woman discovered your taxes in the office of your accountant, where they were lying on the floor. He also mentioned that every single tech check that I had signed was stapled together for 7 years. Taxes every quarter, completely. Then he remarked, "Man, that is evading taxes. Prison is an option for you." It was then that I said, "What are we going to do?" Consequently, he stated, "Hold on, let me go get some attorneys." As a result, he contacted a tax accountant from Chicago, and all of these young men were the most qualified. I was seated down, and they informed me that we were facing a significant challenge. According to him, I have a framework. It passes away. I would like to cover the first year. In the first year, we took the first year and turned it in. I was surprised to see that it was an old tax return. He remarked, "Man, we have a problem there." He had more, although he was unaware of it at the time. A tax payment plan is therefore required of us. Because the tax payment plan was so exorbitant, there was no possibility that I could satisfy this obligation. It was agreed upon that if you missed even a single payment, we would come and seize all of your possessions, and you would be sent to jail. It was the deal all along. Therefore, it was my accountants who broke the news to me that I was in a very serious situation. Even though my former manager's lawyer participated in a conference call to discuss the matter, they just sent an email to my assistant that contained the conference call number. However, it was not intended for me to receive it. It was that she gave it to me by accident. I was not required to make a phone call in any way. By the time I logged on, they were already engaged in conversation. I just failed to make my presence known. Also, I overheard them state that with this level of pressure, no one would be able to leave. There is no way that you will be able to come up with the money to pay his back taxes, his current taxes, and his living expenses. In addition, I overheard a man on the phone asking, "What are we going to do when he finds himself in jail?" In addition, I hung up the phone. I walked to the upper floor. My response was, "Margie, does Margie. There is a problem with us." When I made the explanation to her, Margie immediately began crying. She took a seat and began to cry. My wife couldn't stop crying for 2 days in a row. "What are you going to do?" she asks again. My response was that I would be going to work. In this country, I accepted every comedy gig and assigned every available contract. To be honest, I went to work. It was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that I worked every single day. I went to every site, including the Center for Variety and Basics. MC Phillips, Incorporated. I gave in to Fox's demands. I went to every single place. I continued to listen to the radio. Man, I'm on my way. I will be there, completely sold out. None of my payments were ever late. In addition, I was paying the government a monthly sum of $650,000 for the past 4 years in a row. Moreover, I was required to pay my existing tax. There was nothing that I could fall behind on. Also, I was still alive. So I was playing the credit card game, racking up points and paying them off. And finally, dude, in the year 2012, I sold by heart a percentage of my radio firm that was 49%. I got a check twice, and I got a check for myself. Then, I paid the government off to the point where it was entirely off to zero. That was the very first time, guy, that I was able to take a breath. And then there was the pay-per-view, and I said, "Permit me to get out of stand-up comedy, because my wife says that you have the potential to become a major TV star. You needed to refrain from delivering jokes. You are going to ruin your career if you continue to act in this manner." The reason for this is that she observed the political correctness shifting, and as a result, she told Steve that he may cease if he so desired. I responded by saying, "But this is who I am. I can't ever stop telling jokes." She responded by saying, "Well, okay, but you need to watch what you say." In addition, every single one of my radio and television shows that were sponsored was sponsored. It was then that I said, "Man, I need time to go do more television. So please let me get out of this." Consequently, I performed one final comedy show, but I did it on paper for you at the time. In addition, I had no idea that you could see my final 4 for only $8. I was completely unaware of the number of people who go to it. I was able to get away with it. I ever made a single paycheck that was the largest one I ever made. And before you knew it, I would be pleading with you. Harvey, speaking on behalf of the United States and the Vatican Pavilions, presented a discussion in Dubai during Expo 2020 to address the connections between happiness and religion. The talk was given on the International Day of Happiness 2022, which is observed annually. Merit Street Media is an anticipated multi-platform media outlet that was developed and controlled by Phil McGraw, a former host of Dr. Phil and a longtime friend of Harvey's. In March of 2024, it was revealed that Harvey would be joining Merit Street Media. Which topics would you like to see covered next? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.